So hi friends, welcome back. As you can see, we're in a new little corner here in the house, and I'm really excited because hopefully you saw the video, and if you did not, I'll put it up in the corner somewhere and down below, where I organized my stash. I moved it into this nice little nook in our bedroom. We built these Billy bookshelves, and we found this free chair on Facebook Marketplace, and so it's cozy and just really great for knitting and crocheting here. Just peaceful. I can watch TV, I can look outside, I can do kind of whatever, and I have all of this to inspire me. So today we are going to do just a roundup of the month of September and everything that I got done and acquisitions and all of that fun stuff. So let's get into the video and let's check everything out. If you've noticed, this first finished object is my Hawberry sweater from Veronika Cromwell. I'll put pictures in above, kind of laying over the video, so that way you can kind of see everything in a little bit more detail than it on me. But this is my first crocheted sweater like on my body. I've made a crocheted, like, I guess you would call it cardigan, but it was kind of like a really big oversized, I don't know, blanket on me. So this is really my first crocheted sweater made for my body, and I'm really pleased with how it turned out. I do have a few things that, like, if I did this over again, what I would change, but I'm really happy with it. I made it with just under 3 skeins of Emma's yarn Hella Hank in the colorway Don't Call Me Peaches. And if you see me looking down, it's because I'm looking at my notes and I just want to make sure I cover everything for you. But I crocheted this for a finished bust size of 43 inches, which I think was the large, or it was just right around that. I probably would have made a few more modifications on that, whether it was too long, and I actually did make some modifications on the body. I took about 4 rows out of kind of this half double crochet kind of in the round. I took about 4 rows out, and I honestly wish I had taken a little bit more out, not necessarily in the body, but I'm not sure if I could have taken it out here in the kind of shell piece, because I wasn't sure quite how it was going to affect the arm, but it's definitely oversized here. I would have liked it to kind of just come in a little bit more. So I think that if I had taken a few rows out of this kind of top spot, that might have helped. Plus it's a little too revealing for me here. If you wear like a nude color or just wear a tank top and you don't really care, this is fine, but I would have liked it to kind of maybe be a little bit farther up, so that I didn't have to be so intentional with what I wore underneath it. But in the end, it's still really great, and I just wear like a nude color bra or neutral colored tank top underneath, and you don't really notice it or anything. The other modifications I made were in the sleeve. I made the length, I'm pretty sure I made the length the way it was supposed to, but I decreased pretty dramatically here. I think it was supposed to end up being the whole width was right about what it was here, and I didn't like that. So I actually took this sleeve out and pulled it back, and that was just so heartbreaking to have to crochet basically back a whole sleeve and cuff because I had done the cuff too. But I actually had to do it too because if you might have seen, my cuff turned out like a bell sleeve, and I think I figured out what I did wrong. I was actually going back into a row, so it was almost putting like 2 rows in the same row, which of course is going to have a flare effect. So when I did the sleeve again, I caught that, and then I also shortened it because I didn't want my cuff here. I didn't want my cuff here to be quite as long. It's still blocked pretty big, and that's where, you know, I'm still, you know, figuring all this out and trying to figure out kind of how best to block. I think it's the cashmere in it that is making it grow significantly, because the garments that this is my second garment that I've made with a little bit of cashmere, and it's grown significantly after blocking. And so I'm just kind of figuring that out and how I have to maybe adjust a piece in the future while I'm making it, so like I can shorten it a little bit more or shorten arms a little bit more, just so that way post blocking it turns out well. I did do a swatch and I did block it, but I'm still figuring all this out. So it didn't, you know, it didn't tell me like that this was gonna grow quite this big. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. And yeah, you know, it's cute. It's already pilling, but I think that's the cashmere. So just taking good care of it. And so that is the Hawberry sweater. I think I did it with, I did it with the 3 skeins of Hella Hank, just under 3. I had bought 4 because that's what it said it was going to need based on the pattern. But with my shortening and some of the adjustments I had made, I only ended up using 2.5, 2 3/4. So I have another skein of this. So I'm trying to decide what I might want to do with this, or if I want to make like a gift item for it. Oh yeah, and then the other modification I made was in the neckline. It was just single crochets here, and it looked kind of plain to me. And so I did the 2 single crochet rows here, and then because the whole piece, or, you know, one of the main stitches in here is a half double crochet in the back loop only. And I thought, what a shame, you know, what would a single crochet back loop only look like up here? And I really like it. So I thought it turned out pretty well. And it gave kind of like its own little line here. And so, yeah, that was the other modification. I changed the cuff and made it shorter. So yeah, that is my Hawberry sweater. And so I got this done in early September, but I didn't end up taking pictures until the end of September. And I actually didn't even weave in ends until closer to the end of September, because I wore this for the first time to the office this past week. Yeah, this past week. And so that was the first time I wore it out of the house. So, because I finally said, sit down and weave in your ends, because you don't want to put it away and then never weave in the ends. And so I did that, but I finished it roughly in early September. And at the time I was feeling like, because I had a couple other projects, I had that test that I hadn't even started yet, and I just was like, I need something to like quick that is gonna make me happy, like the yarn I really like. And so I actually have a second finished object for the month of September, which is not common for me. Usually I only have one finished object, especially if it's a larger finished object and a time-consuming object. But let me get to my notes. So this is the, and I'll put again pictures, but this is the Summertime Tank by Toni Lipsey of TL Yarn Crafts. The yarn is Silk Decay by Sorella in the color Surf City. And I love this thing. I've worn this multiple times since I finished it. It took me just about 2 weeks to finish. And honestly, had I just sat down and like not dilly-dally, I probably could have finished it a whole heck of a lot faster, because the DK, and this is actually my first project in DK. Honestly, yeah. I think this is my first DK kind of project. And so it just worked up so fast. The stitch kind of pattern repeat here is super easy. And it was just 2 panels, really, that I had to make and then kind of seam together. The modifications that I made here is I shortened it. I think you were supposed to go to like 20 or 21 inches for my bust size, which I was making it for a bust size of 43. And I think that my kind of length ended up being like 16 or 17, because I wanted more of a cropped look. Because then I also was super afraid that it was gonna block pretty big. And honestly, before I seamed up the sides, I was really worried that I made it too small. Or, you know, like I didn't account for enough kind of positive ease. I didn't want too much positive ease on this. I wanted it to be a little bit more delicate and like, but it's really soft and airy. And so I think I made the 44 inch, and I'm a bust size of like 43 or 44, or I made it 40, something like that. But I was worried that it was actually going to be too small once I seamed it together. I seamed it together, I put it on, and it was like chef's kiss. Perfection. In fact, I'll put in a photo of me trying it on that night, before blocking. Actually, no, I did block it, because this is in the 2 panels. You're supposed to block before you seam it together. So, but I'll show you one of not like good lighting or anything, but like of me putting it on right after I seamed it together. Oh my goodness. I will probably make this top again. In a very, you know, maybe the Silk DK or something similar, because it is such a nice top. And, you know, for the stitch, it kind of looks like it would be, you know, pretty airy and you know, kind of see-through, but I find it's actually not too bad. I wore this to work, and I just wore a nude bra underneath it, and you literally couldn't even tell. And I also think it helps with the speckled creamy colorway of Surf City. Is my bra kind of just like almost melts into, like the top and my bra melt together and you can't even tell. I think I also wore it with a turquoise bra, which was actually kind of fun, because then you can see the pops of like the turquoise. But it's really, you know, it's not as kind of, you know, see-through as you might think. So I'm definitely probably going to make that again in the future. I'm going to give it a little bit of a break, and so that way I can do some other projects that I have working on. But it worked up so fast. The ribbing, I hate ribbing. Like, honestly, the ribbing in my Hawberry, I hate. Like, not that I hate the ribbing, but I hate doing ribbing. It was so long, so tedious. It was, like 200 and some odd rows. Whereas, you know, this was like I mean, it depends on your size. And this is a free pattern that you can get on her blog. It was just 4 stitches, and then I just had to do them. And because it was paneled, I was able to do a split, you know, and you're supposed to do a split. You don't seam it all the way, which I thought was a cute little detail. I have a little end of the yarn there that I need to kind of, but the ribbing worked up so much faster, and I only had ribbing on the bottom hem, which made it easy. And actually I started this in the car on the way to the San Diego yarn crawl, and I got a huge chunk of the back panel done during the yarn crawl. So that's what I'm saying. I probably could have finished this in under a week if I had tried, but I was working through some other projects too, and so I didn't. I tend to get very procrastinate when I'm near the end and maybe all I have to do is block or something like that. So I tend to procrastinate. But so modifications. So I shortened it. And then it calls for like a little bit of a sleeve here, just like a tiny bit, but because it's, you know, 2 panels seamed up, it gives you that drop shouldered look. I didn't feel like it needed a sleeve. And so I just left it without, at least on my body, because maybe I'm shorter. It looks like a sleeve. And so I didn't feel like I needed it, and I liked it without. So I took it out. I didn't really like the seaming. I don't know if it's because of this pattern. It was really hard for me to figure out kind of like the best way to seam it. And my seaming skills just aren't that great. And I think it also depends on kind of like what your stitch pattern is. So my seaming is just not that great. I ended up on the sides. I ended up just doing turning it inside out. I didn't follow the directions for seaming because it wanted you to seam where you have your seaming on the outside, and I wanted to seam on the inside because I know I don't like my seaming. So I had wrong side facing together, seamed and just did like a single crochet, and then that way I can flip it out. It also helps me to better identify when I'm wearing a piece, what's the wrong side and what's the right side, as if when I'm seaming, I kind of make that choice for myself. And I did something actually at the top, I don't even think I single crocheted. I was just doing some random stuff, but the other side, the right side, looks great. So it doesn't matter that I can't seam to save my life, but yeah. So that is the Summertime Tank by Toni Lipsey in Surella's Silk DK in the colorway Surf City, which is a collab with Toni Lipsey. So definitely love this yarn. In fact, I've gone to stitch nights and everything, and everybody loves how soft this yarn is. So I will definitely be getting some more Silk DK when it comes back in the spring and summer next year. So I have 3 skeins that I was going to make another top with. So we'll see if I'm still going to make that top, or maybe I make another one of these, but we'll see. So that is my second finished object. So that's my second finished object for September, which is really great because I got 2 garments done in September. And I didn't think I had so much time to do things, but I'm really happy with how those turned out. The next thing I want to show you guys is my works in progress. And so the first one I'm going to show you is probably not going to look that much different. I promise you there was progress made, but then I decided to frog it because it was not turning out right, and it was just super frustrating to me. And I think this project might be in a little bit of a timeout, not hibernation stage, but it's in a timeout right now. It's the Lynn Tank by Courtney Clark of Tinderbox. I love Tinderbox. And this is Surella's nylon sock in the colorway Marseille. And I love the detailing in this. I'm just having some issues with the directions. They're very convoluted, and I would say that they're definitely not beginner friendly. I wouldn't even call myself a beginner crocheter. I'm definitely not. Maybe an advanced beginner or an intermediate crocheter. But they're definitely written almost in, I don't want to say shorthand, but instead of repeating things a few times to take up less, space on the paper, I just wish it was written out a little bit better. And I know it was pattern tested and everything, but I'm just struggling with it. And I saw a comment on a Ravelry project that said the same thing. It was very convoluted and hard to follow. So for me, it's hibernating. I'm at the point where I need to kind of join and do the body and fade out the posts. But I also noticed a mistake pretty far back that I'm just mad at myself and trying to figure out how best that I tackle that. Like, should I frog back? But if I frog back, I'm gonna have to frog back really, really far. And I just don't know if it's worth it to me. I figured that since it's only that one mistake, that could be like maybe my back, it could be the back part, and I won't see it that much. So right now it's in timeout until I want to deal with it. But I really want it to be finished. I'm a little worried that it's a little small. I'm not gonna lie. I made it for a bigger bust size than myself, but I'm still having issues. I don't think it's a gauge thing. I think it'll be better once, because I was looking at the pattern, and the triangles look like, when you look at it, you think that that's supposed to like hold up your boobs, but it's actually really only like kind of up here, and then it kind of fades out throughout the rest of your bust. But project in timeout. And so the next project that I have, that I've made significant progress, because a few weeks ago, I don't even know how long ago, September 20th. So today is the 30th. So about 10 days ago, I just finally sat down, and I had tried to start the full fade cowl test project by Jennifer at Violet Loops. And it's due at the end of October, or near the end, third week of October. And I knew that I really needed to kind of sit down, figure out what my issue is in terms of the start. It's a Tunisian crochet cowl in the round. And so this is the first time that I'm doing Tunisian crochet in the round. I've done several Tunisian crochet projects. I love Tunisian crochet. And so this is the first time I've done it in the round. And so I was having so much difficulty that I think I tried 5 or 6, 7, I don't know, many times to start the project, and I just kept messing up. It wasn't a directions issue. It was me putting things in the wrong, stitch, or twisting, or something was happening, and I wasn't able to figure it out. But I spent some time about a week and a half ago just sitting down, really focusing on it, trying to troubleshoot, and actually just trying to let it breathe. Like, it looks wrong, but maybe it's just the first few rows look a little wonky, and then the stitch kind of begins to grow. And that's exactly, I did do some twisting the first couple of times, but really is just letting the piece grow is what I needed to do. And so this is my, hopefully, full fade cowl. And I am on the 6th out of 12 colors. And I love it. I'm not feeling the yarn. I'm using the Spring Fade Minis from Montana Crochet. I love the fade. I love the color, the yarn itself. And again, it might just be either a better knitting yarn or a better regular crochet yarn, but it splits so bad, like so bad. It's super frustrating. And this isn't just like, oh, maybe this was a bad batch. I have some more of her yarn. And I'm not happy with how bad it splits. For the most part, I don't see it in the project as much as when I, like the final project, but I definitely notice it, while I'm working it up. And there's actually a couple spots that split so bad, like it pulled, hopefully you can see that, but it pulled it out. And so now I have to kind of try to weave that back in and fix that. But the pattern is so meditative. And once you get the hang of the return pass and the 2 balls and kind of trying to juggle your 2 working balls at the same time, it's super easy. And I'm actually really glad. This is one of kind of the feedback items that I'm going to have. I'm really glad that I did the method where you use 2 interchangeables with a cord in between, because the cord allows me to almost get all the way around before I have to do a return pass. So I can do probably 90% of the round in my forward pass because I can load so much more onto my hook instead of using a solid double-ended hook with wood with no flexibility. So if you're gonna do something like that, I would highly recommend it. This pattern I think is coming out the beginning of November, so I will definitely have all that information for the cowl on my socials. I've been posting photos and updates, and as soon as it gets like launch week, I will definitely be sharing that. So that way, if you want to pick up this pattern, if you love, this is my advice. Like if you love the juniper cowl, which we all know I do. I've made 4 juniper cowls, and I've got a 5th one in mind. You should make this. And I'm going to make this again. I'm probably going to make it again in a different yarn. And it's so versatile. You could make it all one color. You could make it, however many minis you want. You could, make it like a 3 skein, fade or something like that. It is super versatile. So I will definitely be checking in. I'll have it done, obviously, for my next kind of monthly roundup podcast, and we'll showcase the full fade for you, because I'm about to actually head into some more of it's still warm, but it's like it's a blue tan green. Actually, I'll show you. I am heading into kind of this creamy blues and then greens. And I did it this way because I didn't want the red. I didn't want the green around my face for my skin tone. I wanted the red. And so that's why I'm going to have the green at the end. So I'm looking forward to kind of sharing updates with you on that project as it's completed. But I'm always posting, stories and posts on my Instagram. So if you're not following me on Instagram, here's a plug to go follow me. Same username, AceKreates. So the next project it's a long-term project, but what I've decided, if you didn't see my whip or frog video, this might be new to you, but I had 2 blankets in that video that I think I'm going to, I hadn't planned on this originally, but now that I'm thinking about it, and so one of the projects that I was working on was like this really kind of sprinkled, variegated, speckled yarn of the pinks, the blues, the tans, I had to basically almost frog the whole thing anyways, because I was doing that at such a young time in my crochet journey that there were so many mistakes that I wouldn't be making today. And so I ended up almost frogging the whole thing and starting over. Well, in doing that, I also made it like a longer blanket so that it could be bigger to cover a bed. But then that makes it like super time consuming. And I've decided that I don't want to rush to just get it done just to get it done. I really want to do it like, say, on times that I don't necessarily want to work on anything else. This is more like very much TV watching. And so, because I don't have to pay attention, I actually did a pattern this time, but it's a pattern for the dishcloth that I did. That is the single, double, single, double, single, double, and you do that. So I'm actually doing that here. And what I think I've decided is a lot of the colors are very similar for the two blankets, that I might just smash them all together and just make one giant blanket. Because now that it's probably king size, this yarn gets eaten up pretty fast. And so I'm worried that I'm not going to have enough yarn if I do try to do two separate blankets. So that's kind of my thought process. I'm probably about 1.5 foot or 14, 16 inches in. And so that's what I think I'm gonna do. So the colors at the end of the day might be a little wonky, but I think that I'm gonna combine the two. So instead of having 5 finished objects to complete, I'll just have 4. And I don't know if I'll get this done before December. This really is a long-term project. And, because I've been watching a lot of other podcasts and, saying blankets are a long-term project. You don't necessarily have to get it done in, a month timeline that I would want to get, say, a garment or a scarf or a cowl or something like that. And so I really want to give myself the grace to kind of work on this, but doing it in a way that is, I don't necessarily have multiple objects out. So I'll just combine the two, and that will be it. So let's put that over there. So the last finished object that I want to show you guys that I'm really excited about, because I am a baby knitter, and I think a couple podcast episodes ago I said I always want to have a knitting project on my needles, just so that I have options when working. I want to have Tunisian crochet, and I want to have a knitting project. I'll probably add now a blanket, so that will be a 3rd, and then a 4th, 5th, 6th. I don't feel like I need to be monogamous in my projects, although I do have periods in which I really want to be intentional about finishing a project. So actually I've already planned out for the full fade cowl how I'm going to finish that in over the next few weeks to get it done before, and feedback and photos and everything before the 3rd week of October, because that is the deadline. So I'd been searching Ravelry for forever, honestly, for a project that I thought that I could do with my current skills as a baby knitter. And I saw a Wool Needle Hands podcast from a while ago. It wasn't a recent one, but maybe 10 or 12 months ago. And it was her knitting opinions or hot topics, part 2, where they might be like a little controversial opinions. Like everybody kind of gave some feedback and she gave some thought on it. So one of the things was on not feeling like you have to create based on your skill set, like a dishcloth, because that's, what my skill set can do right now in terms of knitting. Feeling like you should be able to, like, if I want to create a garment, if I want to create a scarf, if I want to create something, I should be able to create and recognize that I might not be necessarily at that skill level, but I'll build the skills as I'm working along. And that really kind of just sat with it. Like I resonated with me, and I sat with that, and I was like, I want to find something that I want to do. Now, do I have great ambitions to be knitting these like cute summertime? I mean, there's summertime, but I live in Southern California, so that's like 10 months out of the year. Summertime tees, absolutely. Like, I have such, like, half my Ravelry queue is these knitted summertime tees, because knitting takes up so much less yarn. And so as a, you know, a plus size woman with a larger chest, like, seeing a tee being made out of 2 skeins of yarn instead of like a sweater that's like 5 or 6 or 7, you know, it's just nice. And so, and I love the look of knitted tees. So anyways, I was looking through Ravelry to find like the right project. And I'd also seen this shawl by Knit California, Leslie at Knit California, and she did the Sophie shawl. And I was checking it out online. It's by PetiteKnit. And I was like, I don't think that that's really that hard. It's like garter stitch with, you know, something on the left and the right. And I didn't know what that was. But I was like, I think I could do this, right? So I bought the pattern, and guys, I think I can do it. I am like, you do not know how happy I am right now. I love it. I'm learning 2 new skills. Like, I'm learning knit front and back. So I learned how to knit front and back, and that just was like a YouTube video for me. I watched it a couple times. I tried it a couple times, and I did it. And so now I've successfully been doing that to do the increases here. And then the other skill is with yarn in front. And so slip a number of stitches with yarn in front. So, but otherwise that, it's just knits. And so I'm actually probably by the end of today, I will be at a quarter the way through. And so this is one of my fall again. I live in Southern California, so it's not really fall, but one of my fall knitting plan objects. And so I love it. I'm using Dream in Color Classy in the colorway Burr, I think. Hold on. Yeah, Burr. So this is Dream in Color Classy in the colorway Burr. It is I think 100% superwash merino. There's 250 yards in the skein. And so I have 2 of these. So this is a worsted weight skein. And so the pattern I think calls for not worsted weight. So, but like it calls for 2 strands held together to equal worsted weight. So I just decided to use worsted weight. I did a couple of swatches, and so my husband brought in the baby. So come here, mamas. Come here. So I did a couple of swatches of it to test it out before I actually started, and it was going to work out really fine. And so, yeah, this is my Sophie shawl by PetiteKnit, and that's how I don't have a row counter, so that's how I'm keeping track of my increases. And so, yeah, I'm really happy with how this turned out, and I'm excited to see it grow. It is relatively easy, and I say that as a very, very baby knitter. And so that is my final work in progress that I'm going to show you guys. And so I'm looking forward to showing you over the next month on my socials, and then when I check in with you in October, seeing how far I've gotten. So I just wanted to talk through just a little bit of my upcoming plans for the next month. So I'm actually going to be spending a significant amount of time off of work. I have actually most of my baby bonding time. What's great in California is we get parental leave, and you can take it up through the first year. And I've only used 2 weeks, and we get 12, I think. 8 of them are paid. And so my daughter turns 1 at the near the end of the year, and so I have quite a bit of time left, and so I'm actually going to be taking some time off of work, so that way I can use it, because you use it or you lose it. And so I'm going to be spending some time kind of thinking through some of my projects and my plans and my fall knitting plans. And again, I say fall, and that was the dog. I say fall because I will not be making cozy warm sweaters here in California. I will be making summer tees and tanks to layer. I'm going to be finishing my Kima Cardi from TL Yarn Crafts. And my mom has requested a shawl. So I found the pattern. Actually, it's a pattern I've already made, but I have to find the yarn. I actually, surprisingly, don't have the yarn because she has asked for white yarn. Not white yarn, white yarn. Not ivory, not, eggshell, white, stark white yarn. And so I know that Malabrigo sock comes in a white, so, but that's a hard color to find at a local yarn store. And the item that I made before was a Malabrigo sock. I really liked how it came up. It's Tunisian crochet to the pattern, and so I really want to just stick with Malabrigo. So I might take a look at an online vendor just to see if I can find 2 skeins of the white. So I'm going to kind of be going through and crocheting and knitting a little bit more, spending time with my little girl while I don't have to worry about work. And so I'm looking forward to that. So I will probably, hopefully, in the months of October and November, have a little bit more kind of at least finished objects or progress for you. I'm happy with the progress that I made here in September, but you might see a little bit more from me in October and November. Also in November, I will be going to the SoCal Fiber Fair. It's the first time it's happened here in Southern California. It's going to be over in Pomona. So if you are going to that, I'd love to meet up. Maybe we could do like a little notion exchange, stitch marker exchange, something like that. I'll think of something. It'll be fun. But if you're going there, I'd love to meet up and meet some new yarny friends. So the next thing I want to go over, some of it you might have seen. So if you saw my San Diego yarn crawl, you can skip over some of this, but I'm just going to recap quickly some of the acquisitions that I got for the San Diego yarn crawl, as well as some other things, because I got a nice little goodie box from some friends, and so I wanted to share that with everybody. So the first thing I'll share with you is these Red Stag fiber yarns that I got at Apricot Yarn in San Diego. This is the colorway Gilded, and it's their cottage sock base, which is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, and there's 463 yards in a 100-gram skein. And I'm going to be making a juniper cowl out of this in the future. Don't know when, but these are my work colors, and I'm going to be making this so that I can wear it for work events. And so I love them together. So I'm going to be making that. And then the second thing I got, actually I'll show the ones that I also got at Apricot. So I got 3 skeins at Apricot of the Life in the Long Grass in the colorway Lake. It's the twist sock base. It's 400 yards in a 100-gram skein, and it is 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. and they're based in Ireland. So I thought that that was really cool. I'm going to make a tank or a tee out of that once my knitting skills get a little bit better, or I found a crochet pattern that I like, but I'm definitely going to be making a tank or a tee out of that. Then I got, that was all I got at Apricot. And then I got 2 skeins of this. I mean, I wish you could feel, I wish we had feeling vision, like just feel how soft this is. 2 skeins of the alpaca silk blend, so 70% alpaca, 30% silk from a Simpler Time alpaca mill, and it was really affordable. I mean, like, it was $27 a skein for silk alpaca. And again, the reason why he said that is because you're buying directly from the mill, you know, essentially. So there's no in-between middleman. And so it was only $27 in the colorway Gunmetal. And I think I'm going to be making the Salty Air tea or some sort of tea in this. Once again, my skills become a little bit better, but now that I have permission to cast on and just build my skills, I'm going to be doing that. And then the last thing, maybe that wasn't the Salty Air. I don't remember what I was going to make out of that. But then the last thing I got this at Emmy's Yarn. I got 2 skeins of Malabrigo sock in the colorway Impressionist Sky. I mean, we all know how much I love blue. And so hence most of the yarn in this little showcase was blue. But I got 2 skeins of this, and I'm going to be making a tank or a tee in that. I got 2 little needle stoppers, alpaca needle stoppers from my friends at Alpaca and Friends in Descanso. And then I also got this cute little alpaca, and it's so soft. And so I keep him here for decoration. And baby Ace plays with her. And then the other thing I wanted to show you in terms of my acquisitions is I got a cute little package from my friends at Alpacas and Friends. And so I just thought I'd, you know, kind of do a quick little rundown of what they sent me. They're so sweet and so generous. And so they sent this cute little sticker. I'm going to do it this quickly because I don't want to. And this cute little candy corn stitch marker. Needle stoppers, so little ties on the end. That is definitely coming in handy. Kind of a yarn chart for how much you might need for a specific project. Another cute little sticker. Hopefully this is all centered. And then this button, or not button, pin. Cute little alpacas. And then a sand, because you can never have too many project bags. The San Diego Yarn Crawl tote. So I will definitely be putting a project into that. And then this is so awesome. She sent some yarn as well. So she sent 2 skeins of this beautiful alpaca yarn in like a creamy ivory, and then she sent a skein of it in like a brown. And then now that I look at this one, I thought it was black, but it's like a dark chocolate brown. Ooh, I can see this becoming some sort of piece just now that I know that this is brown, because I'm seeing it in a different light. Yeah, this is definitely, so give me some ideas of what I could do with this 3 together. Yes, maybe something for the husband who's telling me that I should make him something. So yeah, give me some ideas or patterns, like look online, find me a pattern. Give me some ideas on what we could do with these skeins of yarn. So I was blown away. They are so generous and so thoughtful. So thank you so much to Alpacas and Friends in Descanso. Go check out Alpacas and Friends in Descanso if you're in the area. Even if you're not in the area, make the drive down. They have such a cute setup, from the alpacas, the baby alpacas, to the chickens and the pheasants, and such a beautiful, curated, cute little shop with yarn and tchotchkes and project bags and everything under the sun. Made stuff, not made stuff. You'll love it. And I highly suggest you check it out. So that was it for acquisitions. The last thing I kind of wanted to, just quickly share, because a lot of times I'm sure I can TV knit and crochet knit if it's something I don't have to pay attention to, like watch, because I'm still at the phase in my knitting and crochet journey that I have to be able to see my work. And I don't know if I'll ever be like that. So if I do watch TV, I watch a lot of true crime stuff, reality stuff where I don't really have to pay attention. I can't watch anything episodic that I need to know what happened. So what I did a lot this year, and I've been doing a lot this year, is audiobooks. I love the fact that I can speed them up too, because sometimes I feel like they're, reading in real time. When I read on paper, I'm reading a lot faster than, because I'm not reading necessarily every word. That's just how we as humans read a lot of times. And so I've been listening to audiobooks. I've actually read the most audiobooks, or the most books I've probably ever read in my life this year, thanks to audiobooks. And being in LA, I have access to a wonderful library system that I don't really have to wait for books. I mean, I do have to wait for a lot of the popular books, but I recently just finished, I'm a true crime and or murder mystery and or spy thriller kind of gal, but I think it was Leslie at Knit California got me onto the A Court of Thorns and Roses series, and I smashed through that book. And then I read the second book, and then I read the third book, and I read the in-between book, and I'm waiting on the fourth, or technically fifth book, to come into my queue. And I'm thinking I might be a new little fantasy, fan. And so I also just finished Fourth Wing, which is, again, someone recommended it. It might have been Leslie, it might have been someone else. And I really liked that too. And so definitely check out those novels if you are interested in fantasy and everything. So fairies and dragons, and it was good. Definitely mature themes in it. So but definitely worth checking out. So that is it, my friends. That is everything for the month of September in my regular podcast update. And so I look forward to keeping you updated on socials throughout the month. And as always, I will be doing regular videos. I think my next video is going to be like my fall knitting plans and crochet plans. Also, everybody, I've been watching a bunch of them. Everybody thinks that, fall, September's over, fall, we're already into fall. But for me, fall just started like a week ago. It's just starting to get to somewhat nice weather here in Southern California. And I'm looking forward to, making what I want to make. So it might not align with traditional fall makes for everybody, but I love, I really want to share with you kind of what I'm thinking and what's inspiring me, especially with some of the yarns and my intentionality in getting some yarns and assigning it to projects right away. I really want to show what my plans are and what kind of my queue looks like. And so You already saw one little sneak peek with the Sophie shawl, but I'd love to kind of talk through some of that in my next video. So thank you so much for watching. If you like this video and videos like this, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out and it helps others find my content. I am just, you know, I do this for fun on the side, and I'd really just like sharing what I'm doing with yarn to everyone. And I love creating the videos and working through all that. And so I really appreciate if you made it this far in the video. Leave a comment below and tell me what your favorite yarn that I showed. Tell me what your favorite yarn is. So if you made it this far, leave a comment below on your favorite yarn. Thank you again, friends, so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye now.